This is a true story. Estefanía Gutiérrez Lázaro was an 18-year-old girl from Madrid, Spain, living with her family in a modest apartment complex in Vallecas. Raised in a Catholic household, she was the third of 6 siblings and led a seemingly normal life. But everything changed the day she and her friends decided to play with forces beyond their understanding. One of Estefania's close friends had lost her boyfriend in a tragic motorcycle accident. Overcome with grief, the group of girls longed for a final connection with him. In their desperation, they turned to an occult ritual, using a Ouija board to reach out to the dead. The board, an infamous medium for spirit communication, contained inscribed letters, numbers, and the words yes and no. With flickering candlelight surrounding them, they placed their hands on the planchette and called out to the spirit world. Estefanía, deeply fascinated by the occult, brought the Ouija board to school. One afternoon, she and 2 of her friends snuck into an isolated field behind the school, their hearts pounding with anticipation. As they chanted their questions, a nun stumbled upon them. Horrified, she shattered the board, scolding them for dabbling in dark forces. In that instant, a thick white smoke erupted from the broken board, curling and twisting ominously in the air. Before she could react, Estefanía inhaled the vapor through her mouth and nose, and collapsed into a violent seizure. In the days that followed, strange occurrences haunted her. She began seeing ominous shadows moving in the corners of her home, flickering in and out of existence. At night, sleep eluded her as faceless figures cloaked in darkness whispered her name, beckoning her to follow them. Soon, her body betrayed her. Sudden seizures, hallucinations, and unrelenting insomnia tormented her. She would convulse, levitate, and hurl herself against the walls as if controlled by an unseen force. At times, guttural growls escaped her lips, her voice transforming into something unrecognizable. Her family watched in terror as her once vibrant personality faded into something twisted and nightmarish. 3 weeks of relentless torment passed. On July 13, 1991, in a fit of inexplicable rage, Estefanía lunged at her younger sister, Maria Elena, who collapsed to the floor, foaming at the mouth. Fearing for her life, her parents rushed Estefanía to the hospital, desperate for answers. But the doctors were baffled. There was no medical explanation for her suffering. The very next day, Estefanía suffered an intense cataleptic seizure. She was rushed to the hospital once more, but that night, she was found dead in her hospital bed. The cause of her death? A complete mystery. But death did not bring peace. Following Estefanía's passing, the Gutiérrez family became prisoners of their own home. Her mother, sleeping restlessly, awoke to hear Estefanía's voice shrieking from different rooms. Objects moved on their own. Glass shattered inexplicably. An eerie, guttural laughter echoed through the hallways. An old man's voice, though no such man lived there. Doors slammed violently without cause, and unseen hands tugged at the children in the dead of night. One evening, her mother bolted awake, feeling something cold grasp her feet and hands. Another night, her children screamed in terror, their hands pressed against the walls, as if an invisible force tried to drag them away. Then, 1 year after Estefanía's death, something chilling happened. A framed photograph of her, hanging in the living room, fell to the floor. Before their eyes, the image of her face ignited into flames. The frame and the surrounding objects remained untouched, yet her portrait burned away as if consumed by some unseen force. The Gutiérrez family had reached their breaking point. They called the police. On the night of November 27, 1992, Inspector José Negri and his team arrived at the apartment. They found the parents outside, trembling in the rain, too terrified to step inside. As some officers stayed with them, Negri and his men ventured into the apartment. What they witnessed defied logic. The entire apartment was in disarray, as though a storm had raged inside. Suddenly, a wardrobe door swung open with such force that it nearly struck one of the officers in the face, despite the fact that he had just inspected and locked it moments earlier. From the balcony, blood-curdling screams echoed, but when they rushed to investigate, no one was there. A bedside table, previously untouched, oozed a strange brown substance that began to spread across its surface. Then, their eyes fell on the crucifix hanging on the wall. Just minutes before, it had been intact. Now, it lay on the floor, violently torn from the wall. 3 deep claw marks were gouged into the spot where it had once hung. Stepping into the bathroom, the reported epicenter of the disturbances, the officers were met with an unbearable chill, a coldness unlike anything they had ever felt. A sensation of pure, inhuman dread settled over them. That was enough. They fled the apartment, knowing there was nothing they could do for the family. Unable to endure the horror any longer, the Gutierrez family moved away. From that moment on, the paranormal torment ceased, but the trauma never left them. As for Inspector Jose Negri, months later, he requested a transfer. Whether it was due to what he had experienced that night or mere coincidence, no one can say. The case of Estefanía Gutiérrez Lázaro remains one of Spain's most infamous paranormal investigations. It inspired the 2017 horror film Veronica, though the movie takes creative liberties and does not accurately depict the true events. The real story, however, continues to chill those who hear it. To this day, what happened to Estefanía remains a terrifying mystery. That brings us to the end of our story. Please don't forget to like, share, leave a comment, and follow us for more. Thank you, see you next time, and bye for now.